Yes, folks, it's early days here. Hello. Is there anybody there? Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. I think we'll do that. Get rid of that bloody light up there. It's just driving me nuts. It's a bit more like it, isn't it? Shallow grave, eh? How you doing? Yeah. Here I am. Thanks for joining me nice and early. Yeah. I like your little image there, Marty Feldman. Can you hear me okay? Are you receiving me? Is the sound coming through? Good. Boris, yeah. Shall I? Good evening. Is that shit OC is? Yeah. Listen, I just checked. Yeah. I just went on Chat GPT and checked. He's still alive. Trevor, how are you doing, Trevor? Tell me, can you hear me okay? I don't know, you see, because I don't hear it. I've just got the mic on. Loud and clear. That's good, Boris. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure, you see, because I can see that the signal's showing that it is. He is an oxygen thief, James. You've not heard about that, but he's in a coma. I believe that he's in an induced coma. Sounds great. Oh, well, very good. It's just me. Yeah. I won't sing tonight unless I get a special request. Yeah. Larry don't like it, you see. How are you doing, Trevor? Right. Yeah. So here we go. We're nearly at 7 o'clock. 3 minutes to. I thought I'd get it kicked off early, you know. This moustache getting out of hand, don't you think, eh? Must be going mad. Turning into Jimmy Edwards. Do you remember Jimmy Edwards? Wacko. You won't remember that, will you? Violent attacks in prison. I've seen too many of them. Waiting for the red moon. The Canary Islands. You're in the Canary Islands, eh? Whereabouts are you? Which one are you at? Fortaventura? Oh, no, that's not the Canary Islands, is it? That's on the mainland. Is that Huntley dead? No, he's not dead, Mark. I can't see that he'll survive this. I mean, from all accounts, the metal bar was embedded into his head. So he's definitely brimmed down. It'll just switch down. He won't survive this. Is it one of them? All right, yeah. So where are you at? Tenerife. I've been to Tenerife. I've been to a few of them. Yeah, Fortaventura, yeah. And what's the other one? I've forgotten the name of the other one. It's more of a circular island, the other one, isn't it? Yeah. I've been on a few of them. I really like the Canary Islands. The only thing is, I can't get on the beach anymore. I'm just a bit old for that. But I had a ride around them. And as for that cunt Huntley, well, I suppose people would say he got what he deserved, but he's got a mother, And his mother went to visit him in hospital. Did you know that? The prison system sent a car to her house and they drove her up to see him in hospital. Here we are. It's 7 o'clock now. At least we've got some viewers. Yeah. We've got some viewers this time, yeah. So, yeah, and his mother said that she thought it would be better for him to move on. In other words, take that next step into another dimension. But he's not in for a friendly welcome when he gets over there. They'll pull him in and say, right, Mr. Huntley, if you'd like to explain yourself, please. And he has got a daughter, and she thinks that he should be dead as well. It's a disgrace, isn't it? I mean, who would do something like that? Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. I mean, 10-year-old girls. They were out together buying toffees in their Manchester United shirts, weren't they? And he had the audacity to get a Manchester United shirt and wear it in prison as if he was proud of what he'd done. I don't think he's going up with Helloweights, yeah. Well, I've had a few near-death experiences. I've never seen hell, never mentioned it to me. Yeah, Mark Frankland is high security, but he was working in a workshop. He was in a workshop where they recycled waste. You know, they split the plastic from the glass and from the metal. And somebody picked up a metal bar and buried it into his head. Apparently, they hit him. There's different reports. Some say 3 times, some say 15 times. But whatever it was, it certainly cracked his skull. And the guy that did it ain't no working class hero, you know. He murdered 3 people. Russell, his name was. He's currently in the segregation unit, which is no doubt where he will remain. Because he's going to be highly dangerous, isn't he? And somebody's going to want to take him out next. It's the way it works. Charles Bronson was into all that. Listen, I've just done a recent interview with a lady called Honey Pyle. Does anybody know who Joey Pyle was? He was a London gangster. Well, his granddaughter, her name's Honey Pyle, Pyle. She came to see me last weekend, last Saturday, and did quite a big interview with me. So that'll be up on YouTube within the next 10 days, I imagine. She was a nice lady. And I think you'll find that interesting. She was on about Charles Bronson, asking me, did I think Charles Bronson was a political prisoner? No, I don't, actually. I think Charles Bronson doesn't want to get out of prison. I mean, he's an old man now. He's just a bit younger than me, isn't he? About 74, I think. Yeah. He wouldn't survive in society. The problem is he wouldn't survive is because somebody who wants his name on their gun would be trying to make a name for themselves. You know, I took Charles Bronson out, and despite the fact that he may be still able to handle himself a bit, there's going to be some nutter who would just find a way to do it. We got quite a few things. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Do ask me a question if you want to discuss it. I never met Charles Bronson, by the way, but in 1990, after the Strangeways riots, I was contacted by the editor of The Guardian, who invited me to write an article for The Guardian national newspaper, and it was published on the 9th of June, 1990. So if you've got a reference library near you, go and have a look. It's in there. It's called Loose Screws, the article I wrote, which was about the control system, because people wanted to know, why Strangeways kicked off. Well, it was the brutality and the abuse. Mark, you ask, was he on the roof in the Strange Ways riots? Charles Bronson wasn't, no. Alan Lord was. He was one of the leading lights. He's still around, Alan Lord, you know. He lives in Manchester and works at a gym, or he's got his own gymnasium, because he's got a big, strong, hefty piece of work, is Alan Lord. Trevor's asking, don't think kangaroo courts and vigilantes are a solution. Trevor, that's right. They're not. I mean, what the problem is, you've got people in prison who don't see it that way. And a lot of people are trying to make a name for themselves. Dan. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, you keep commenting, Dan. You're live from America. You're in America. Good. I've been to America. Been to New York. I was flown into New York by Fox TV, believe it or not. I did a series for Fox TV and the Children's News Network. And then Disney flew me to, where was it? Orlando. And I did a couple of shows in Orlando at the MGM Theatre there. When I was almost famous. When I was, yeah. Steve McQueen, eh? Bullet. Great film there. Good driving, by the way. Yeah. How's it going? It's going all right. Been a bit cool here. Huntley is still alive, Dan. He's in an induced coma. I don't think he'll come round from that. And if he does, he's just going to be a vegetable. You know, he's going to be completely brain dead. It won't be long. His body will just shut down. I would think it would anyway. He's obviously nobody wants him to live, do they? Probably including himself. He has parents, yes, Dan. His mother went to see him. I've just been discussing this. His mother was picked up by the prison department and driven to see him in hospital, and she said herself, you know, despite the fact that he's my son, I think it's time for him to move on. Yeah, it is. But Mark, he has been previously attacked, you know. He was attacked, I think it was 2010. Somebody slit his throat from right at the side of his ear right down, just missed his jugular vein. And he had, I don't know how many, it was 20, 30 stitches in that. So somebody's had a proper go at him. Yeah, Steve McQueen. His daughter did say that she thought he should be dead. I mean, imagine doing that. I mean, you aren't just killing two little girls. You're destroying their family, you're destroying your own family, and you're destroying yourself. Trevor, do you agree with the death penalty? No, I don't. Actually, because listen, having worked in the prisons, let me tell you this, long-term imprisonment is hell on earth. You get somebody, hang them, they're out of it. They're not suffering anymore, they're gone. Mark, I can understand an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but seriously, long-term imprisonment is an absolute nightmare. It's boring. There's nothing, you know, you're just lost. And you know that you're never going to come out. Unless you're Myra Hindley and they smuggle you out by pretending that you died of some mysterious heart complaint that she never had. I absolutely do not believe that Myra Hindley was dead when she might be dead now. Strange thing about the Moors murders, you know, my father was involved. He was one of the police officers that investigated it, along with Superintendent Joe Mounsey. He was the guy who was the leading light on researching for them, because he knew that there was a serial killer in Manchester. I'll look him up. Chief Superintendent Joe Mounsey. He's gone now, but he used to come to their house, our house. He was friends with my dad. Yeah, you're right. It's not fair on the taxpayers. I mean, if it costs, listen, Mark, if it costs £1,000 a week, £1,000 a week to keep one ordinary prisoner on the landings, somebody like Huntley, it'll cost him £2,000 a week because they're in high security and they require all that supervision. Now, do the British public really want to pay £2,000 a week for a shit house like that? Should call the lifers up. Oh, yeah. Wheels of terror. They used to have penal regiments in the German army, you know. They've got penal regiments in the Russian army at the moment, taking them out of prison, giving them uniforms and marching them up to the front, where I think it's averaging something like 1,000 soldiers a day from the Russian army are being killed. Dan, I can't imagine the tape your dad listened to. Yeah, he did listen to that tape, Dan. He was in the courtroom when they played the tape with the Moors murderers in the dock. He said it was terrible. He said there were grown men in there crying. It was that terrible. He said it was really, absolutely, unbelievably torturous. But I don't believe that Myra Hindley died in prison. I mean, come on. If I was to drop dead right now, it'd take, 10, 14 days to get me tucked away in a crematorium and all the rest of it, wouldn't it? Not Myra Hindley. Apparently she was toasted within about 7 days, 6 or 7 days. Dan, I don't know. My dad never said. He didn't say. Another strange thing about Myra Hindley, she was taken by the police onto Saddleworth Moor when they were looking for the missing child, Keith Bennett. They never found the body of Keith Bennett, and the police took Myra Hindley onto the moors to try and locate the body. And the detective inspector that took her onto the moors was my brother. My brother Martin, who was a detective inspector in the CID at Manchester. He wasn't in charge of it. Chief Superintendent Peter Topping was in charge of that. Yeah, read up on the Moors murders, said they never found it. No, they didn't find them all, no. Keith Bennett was the one. And I actually met Keith Bennett's mother when she was alive. Because years ago, I used to manage that psychic called Derek Acora. You might have seen him on Most Haunted. Anybody who watches Most Haunted, whoever did watch it. And I asked him if he would come with me and we'd see if we could find Keith Bennett's body. We went to see his mother and tuned in and went on. And of course, he didn't find the body, but he did find out where some of the other bodies were, and that we know that was a fact because my brother was with me and he knew. You see, so wicked people, yeah. What's your opinion on the MP who visited Ian Rennie in prison? I know who that is, but I cannot say. I can't say because he's still alive, and I'm not feeling suicidal, believe me, because it's an important name. But what did I think? I thought he was a dirty bastard. No, it wasn't Longford. Longford was not an MP, he was just a lord. He wasn't representing anybody. But Longford was a bit strange, wasn't he? Because he kept going visiting Myra Hindley. And Ian Brady, yeah. Ian Brady in prison, he was visited by one of a very serious senior politician. And he got into his cell, and the orders were, you don't go anywhere near it. You stay on the other side of the landing, leave him to it. This was at lunchtime. Everything's locked down. He was in the cell for about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And when he came out, when he went in, he was absolutely immaculate. Savile Row suit, brilliant, clean tie and shirt and sparkling shoes. And when he came out, like he'd been dragged through a hedge backwards. I mean, what was all that about? What was he up to? I've got a good idea what he was up to. And when he went out, yeah. Mark, yeah. I couldn't possibly comment. But I must say, something like that was going through my mind. Yeah. When Ian Brady was at the Scrubs, you know, he was in the hospital for a time. And what had happened was they tried to locate Ian Brady in the main prison on D Wing, which was the lifers wing. When they put him on D Wing, somebody got a kettle of boiling water, held him down in the toilets, and poured it all over him. So he was seriously injured, Ian Brady, and he was taken into the hospital. And whilst he was in the hospital, believe this or not, because it was an open hospital ward, you know, he was in there along with all the other patients in the prison, because that's where they treated them. And there were Borstal boys in there, and Ian Brady was abusing the Borstal boys. And his assistant was Graham Young, the poisoner. Graham Young used to act as a watch out, you know, a lookout, you know, tell him if any of the staff were coming, because what Ian Brady did was he'd follow the young Borstal boys into the toilets and abuse them. Trevor, do you believe some people are born evil? Actually, yes, Trevor, I do. I do believe that. I mean, a lot of it's genetic, I believe. I mean, my family, police and law enforcement. I mean, there's a lot of my family who were gamekeepers and estate managers and, you know, enforcing the law of the land. And then my father was a police officer. Yeah, my brother was a police officer. I would have been a police officer myself, but I'm colourblind. I did the exams, passed the exams, went for the medical, and I was colourblind. That is my father's truncheon. It's got his number stamped on it, 1772, when he joined the police, around about 1954. Yeah. So I do believe that some people are born evil and some people are born with different traits. I mean, you think you could teach people to play the piano. You could teach me to play the piano for the next 50 years. I'd never be able to play it. Some people don't need it. Some people can just play it. They're born with a natural gift. So, yeah, some people are born with certain propensities, natural propensities. I mean, I always knew I was going to be a writer. Always knew it. Never doubted it. My school teachers did. But I never did, and now I've written 17 books. And I hope you've all bought copies of my book out there. Yeah. HMP Manchester Prison Officer. It's got rave reviews, by the way. How did you conduct yourself, knowing what these monsters did? No, actually, Mark, it never really occurred to me to act as judge and jury. No, I was just there to make sure that they got locked up. One or two of them I definitely didn't like because they were abusive and aggressive and generally attempting to annoy me deliberately. They must have been mad. One of them was Frankie Fraser. He used to call me, you're just a screw. That's what he used to say to me, Frankie Fraser. So I said to him, Fraser, get in your cell. So he go in his cell. I said, and shut your door. He said, shut it yourself, screw. That's what he used to call me, yeah. Horrible, horrible little man. But I never thought about damaging people just because of what they did. That's not my job. I was just there to lock them up. I agree, Mark, it will be hard to control you. No. Listen, Dan, you can't do that. If you did that, then you wouldn't be in the job very long. You'd be an inmate yourself. I mean, obviously, you know, it's just like being anybody else. You'd look at this and think, that is absolutely disgusting. How could anybody do anything like that? Talking about child abusers and all the rest of it, there was one horrible, horrible inmate at Wormwood Scrubs. And what he'd done was, believe this or believe it not, he used to put treacle and syrup on his erect penis and get little 18-month-old, 2-year-old children to suck the syrup. I mean, imagine doing that. You've got to be seriously sick. There was another guy in there at the Scrubs, on ordinary location, by the way, and he was a former major in the British Army. And he got himself in prison because when he came out of the army, they put him in, he got a job in charge of a nursing home for children. Hello, Barry Smith. Hey, everybody, welcome Barry Smith. He used to be the officer in charge of the mailbag unit at Strangeways. It was like a scene from Charles Dickens. 200 inmates all sat round sewing mailbags. Yeah, so what he'd done was this major, ex-major, when he got himself in charge of the nursing home for handicapped children, he'd started sexually assaulting the children. Yeah, and he ended up in the Scrubs doing something like 5 years. John, did you ever watch the documentary about that? I've seen that, yeah, when they shot through the guards. Do you know that, Dan? They shot through the prison guards. I'll tell you a little story about that as well. Yeah, because we had the IRA at the Scrubs, and they were on trial. They were on remand or something like that. Anyway, they were being taken to the Old Bailey, and the police. They had the armed police with weapons, you know, and the police had instructions in the event that the IRA take any prison staff hostage, you've got to shoot through the prison staff and kill them because they have these high velocity rifles. And a number of the police officers refused to do it. They said, we're not doing that. So they stood them down. But that was the orders because they thought the IRA were that desperate to get out. Yeah. John, did you watch? Yeah, especially when the inmates broken in protective custody. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what happens. If the prisons break up and you've been a brutal bastard, then they're going to get you, aren't they? But I never was. I mean, I was obviously capable. Barry Smith will remember. Yeah, Barry Smith, who's on here now. Do you remember the school bully, Barry? Bootsy, also known as the school bully. Totally disgusting, Dan. Yeah, absolutely disgusting. There's worse things than that. Hmm? I hope you're well. I've just tuned in. David Bailey. Hello, David Bailey. Good pictures, by the way. It's not spelt like that, though, is it? Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. Anyway, we're giving it a go. Yeah. I find it interesting how much contraband it can get. Yeah, it's James McKelvey. All right. Okay, the new James. Yeah. From Scotland. Yeah. They're getting a lot of it's going in by drones, I believe, but also there's a number of the staff. I mean, the thing that surprises me is the number of hostesses, female prison officers, really. I call them the hostess brigade. Not that I'm a misogynist. I mean, I can't be, can I? I've been married 56 years. You're a newbie. Karen is your name. Yeah. Karen, let me tell you that. They all say that. I've never done this before. No, seriously, Karen, welcome on board. Thank you for joining in. Yeah, do ask me some questions. I'll do my best to answer. But I do believe that that's how drugs get smuggled in. They were getting smuggled in when I was at the Scrubs. Not drugs, really. It was whiskey and tobacco then. Yeah, Orbs, you're new to the channel. Well, welcome aboard, Orbs. There's about 1,200 videos or more in the back catalogue. You can go and have a look at them. Every subject under the sun to do with prisons. It's all on there. Has anybody seen my interview with James English? That's got about 100,000 views, that. I find it incredible they have dumbed down the entry. Really? Trevor? Yeah, when I joined, you had to take the civil service entrance exam. You had to pass an interview. You had to pass medical examinations, and you had to submit a list with written references for every single job you'd had. Every single job, written references. Nowadays, you just knock on the front door. Yeah. Come in. There's a big set of keys. Go for it. They had a similar shoot to kill policy. Yeah. Barry Smith, they did. I had a few mates killed in Northern Ireland when I was in the army. I also knew the prison staff that were with, what was his name now? He went on a hunger strike and he died. Yeah. Kevin Barry, I think his name. I don't know Kevin Barry. But yeah, anyway. John, after you got hired in the prison service, if you had your pick, which prison would you pick? Well, I originally wanted to work at a detention centre or a borstal, to try and help younger inmates. When I got posted to Wormwood Scrubs. You can imagine what a shock that was. Must have had a bum like a wizard's sleeve. Mark, they didn't do that. It was a prison officer that was smuggling it in. And I've told the story before. He was a former senior warrant officer in the Royal Air Force. He thought he knew exactly what he was doing. I previously warned him. Said, don't think that these are just ordinary blokes. These are sophisticated career criminals. Said, you be very careful. And he said to me, he said, I have been handling men for over 30 years. I was the senior warrant officer in charge of the Queen's birthday parade or something like that. Oh, really? Within 3 months, he got the boot. The prisoners had just twisted him round their little fingers. Bobby Sands, that was it. Yeah. Bobby Sands. Thanks for reminding me. I must be going a bit. I'm getting old now, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how much is the pension for a prison officer after doing offals? Well, nowadays it's not so good actually. They didn't have it when I joined, and Barry Smith joined. I don't know how long Barry did, but Barry was in the jail for strange ways at the same time as me. You used the best pension you could get was 40/80th of your wage. That was it. It was based on your final salary. So if your final salary, I mean, I'll tell you what my final salary was, and don't doubt it, I've got the pay slips. My final salary was £17,500 in 1984-85, and in today's rate, that would be somewhere in the region of about £60,000. So if I had retired then, I would be on £30,000 a year pension, but it's not final salary pensions now. Yeah. And I believe that the pay isn't very good nowadays. I mean, it's half the rate that it was. But listen, Barry was there. I told him this would happen. You can see it. There's a documentary out there. It's called Strange Ways, filmed in 1979, screened in 1980. And I'm on there saying, if you don't get a grip here and get a proper trade union, you know, you're going to be little more than turnkeys. Yeah. Prison officer interview. Are you a psycho? Yes, and you're right, Barry. Listen, I know, but Barry, I used to be the hospital officer that did the medicals for new recruits. And one lunchtime, I was having a cup of coffee with the chief officer who was doing the interviews. I said, what are you really looking for when you're interviewing prison officers, potential prison officers? I said, because there's some very strange characters in the prison service. And you know what he said? He said, we're looking for the biggest psychopaths in Britain. That's what they wanted. Hey, and Barry, they found him. Do you remember Trevor? There was a guy there called Trevor Cloak. He's dead now. He's about 6'5" and about 18 strong. Great big strapping fella. I was on duty with him one night. There was a kick-off in the dormitory, because they used to have some dormitories, you know. I said, we'll go and have a look at that. He said, no, we won't. I will. And he drew his truncheon. There were 16 men in this dormitory, 16 men. Trevor Cloak went in with his truncheon and beat every single one of them. I went up and I heard the screaming. I opened the door. There were blokes crawling around on the floor, people hiding under the bed. Trevor Cloak was pulling him out, and poof, and you know, nobody complained. Next morning, there were bloody lumps missing, black eyes, busted lips. Nobody's complained at all. They were frightened stiff that they get another visit. Those were the days, Barry, yeah? Outsourcing has not worked. Outsourcing won't work, will it? Back in the day, you know, I mean, we're going back some time now, all the works department, all the repairs to the prison were done by the works department. They don't have one now. It's all outsourced. All the nursing, all the hospital staff, that was me and other hospital officers. Well, John, I've got to go. Have a good night. Thanks, Dan. Yeah. Well, next month, I'll be here. Thanks for calling. Dan the man. Yeah. How did you find Donald Nielsen? Yeah. Well, Donald Nielsen, otherwise known as the Black Panther, yeah, he was down the block. He was mad as a gnat, mad as a boxer, bleeding frogs. You go in the open his cell at 7 o'clock in the morning. This is God's honest truth. He'd be doing press-ups, sit-ups, and running on the spot. And I don't know what he thought he was into. That's the man that murdered that Leslie, what's her name? Yeah, poor girl. Tied her up, put a wire around her neck, and she was found hanging in her. Yeah, he was a horrible bastard, was Donald Nielsen, the Black Panther. What's your take on it? I've heard the prison staff that hurt him was as bad as himself. Oh yeah, the person that David Bailey named Russell, he was absolutely another complete shithouse, just like Ian Huntley. He'd murdered 3 people. Leslie Whittle, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, was one there, a murderer. What do they call him? He was the Goit Valley murderer, I think his name was. Anyway, uh, he'd murdered about 3 people. He had a gang of young lads, and he was about 30 or 35 himself. Great big fat fella, about 6 foot tall, probably about 18 stone. Big fat bugger though. And he was on the hospital ward in strip conditions because he'd kicked off. He'd been grabbed, injected with Largactil, slung in a padded cell. And I got a call one day. Right, he's moving. Get him ready. He's going to where was it, man? Yeah, he was going to another jail anyway. Risley. So they said, "Hello, Sean. Nice to see you, mate." Yeah. So Sean, yeah. Anyway, so this guy, I had to go and tell him. I said, "Right, you're going to Risley. Tell me the size of your trousers you want, your shirt, and I'll get them sorted out for you." "I'm not going to fucking Risley. I'm not doing this." I said, "You're going to Risley, lad. I don't care." So he wouldn't tell me. So I guessed his waist size at 42. I got him a shirt size 17 and a half, shoes, all the rest of it. Plug him in his cell. I said, "Right, get yourself dressed. You're going in about 15 minutes. I'm not doing this, that, the other." And he got hold of his shirt and he ripped the shirt up. All right. So anyway, the escort arrived from Risley because they'd sent a van out to pick him up. And I said, "He says he's not going." I said, "But I'll just get him out in a minute." I said, "You just stand there, get the door open, ready, and when I get him out, he's going straight in." So this guy's in his cell, ranting and raving about he's not going to Risley. He was a big bastard too. So I opened his cell door, got over the top of his head, because he had hair on his head, not like me, baldy head. I grabbed hold of the top of his head and ran him, stark bollock naked, out of his cell and slung him into the back of the van. And he's banging on the van, and he's shouting, "I'll kill you, Sutton. If it takes 20 years, I'll kill you." Anyway, off he went to Risley, stark bollock naked in the back of a van. He died in prison, by the way, so I reckon I'm safe, don't you? Did you come across Dennis Nielsen? Oh, well, then, yeah, well, I knew, yeah. Oh, you mean the killing for company, the guy that was eating people and keeping their corpses in London? No, I never came across him. I came across the Black Panther, yeah. Sean Carter saying hello to everybody. Hello, Sean. How you doing? Mark, you were asking, was the serial killer? Huntley wasn't a serial killer. He just killed 2 little girls. Russell killed 3 people. Yeah, the Black Panther. Yeah, well, if you'd met the Black Panther, you wouldn't want to. I'll tell you, this is a story about the Black Panther. Seriously, he was in his cell, and because he was a dangerous bastard, they wouldn't let him out of his cell. So they said, would I go and get him his dinner? So I got a metal plate, one of these metal plates, and I got his dinner on it. And I'm walking towards his cell, and the staff on the block said, "Oi, you forgot the condiments." I said, "I'm sorry, what do you mean?" Condiments, and the officer put his hand into the dustbin, pulled out a handful of crap from the dustbin, stuffed it into the dinner, and squished it all up. So the food that was going into the Black Panther was all filled with crap. I just opened the door and slung it in. And you know what? He ate the lot. He was mad. Sean, yeah, doing good, yeah? How's that? They have not turned Huntley's machine off yet. Yeah, I'm sure that they will do. I never met Peter Sutcliffe, no. No, I didn't. He was in Broadmoor, you see. Them prisoners who cover themselves in short. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Listen, yeah, just for a minute, entertain yourselves. I won't be long. Singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. Here we are, I'm back again. Yeah, sorry about that. Nature calls, you see. When you're getting old like me, you don't have a lot of choice. Yeah? Where were we up to? No, I know about Peter Sutcliffe. Doing good, yeah. Them prisoners who could. Yeah, it's very dangerous, that, because, I mean, I have dealt with them. I mean, what you used to do, what I used to do, I get a big bass broom, you know, one of them brooms with the big prickly ends, yeah, and poke them into the back of the cell. You don't want to be getting hold of that, do you? I mean, once or twice, you know, you got a bit close. Of course, once you get yourself smeared with shit, then you've got to get yourself washed down and changed. I had to do that once or twice. But generally speaking, if you were going into somebody, then you get overalls on and you get a hat on. I see one of them, they did like a smeared shit all over the walls, and it was done like a palm tree. It was quite artistic, actually. If you like palm trees made out of shit. Do you think most officers would find it impossible to the likes of you and Huntley of this world? No, David, I mentioned this. There's only one way to do the job. If you're going to do it, you do it professionally. And you've got to distance yourself from their crime, because you're not the judge and jury. You're there to lock them up and make sure that they stay behind bars. Not there to judge them. You know, what they've done, they've been punished by the courts, not by me. There were staff that actually thought that they were some form of, well, I think they thought they were avenging angels. Are you still with us, Barry Smith? Because Barry will have seen these people who thought that they were there to, I don't know, punish the prisoners. You're not there to punish the prisoners as a prison officer. You're there to make sure that they stay behind bars and that they're relatively safe. You've got to protect them, actually. Do prisoners today bleat on about well-being? I don't know about well-being. I mean, in my day, they didn't even have sanitation in the cells. They used to have to defecate and urinate into a plastic pot. And then every morning you'd open them up and they'd take the plastic pot and dump it down the sluice. They call it slopping out, where they got rid of all the human waste. And it stank. The jail stank like an open urinal. Sour urine and carbolic soap. That's what it stank of. David, don't you think prison officers are in there to do? Trevor, they were. A lot of them were. I mean, there were one or two strange characters that used to think they were there to abuse inmates and shout offensive words at them and threaten them. And a lot of the National Front did that because they were very racialist. and there was a big chapter of the National Front at Strangeways. I actually exposed them in the national press, and if you've seen the interview I did with James English, I explain about how I was asked to investigate the National Front by a man called Eric Heffer, who was the deputy leader of the Labour Party, and he was the MP for Walton, Liverpool. And I went to a meeting of the National Front, at the behest of Eric Heffer, and the speaker was David Duke from America. Now, David Duke, at the time, was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and he was in England addressing National Front. Yeah, well, where are we up? Everyone hit the thumbs up for it, John. Yeah. All right. Good. Sean, I've done years back. Will it ever improve? It's getting worse, I think. I mean, all right, they've got TVs, they've got Xboxes, they've got radios, they've got internal sanitation in the cells, but they've now got drugs and all manner of nonsense that's in the prisons. And I believe it's quite difficult. And also, when I was at Strangeways, if it kicked off, then you knew that you weren't on your own. That every prison officer in the jail, if you needed it, would come, but not now. No, I wasn't Hamoash. No, I wasn't. I'd not long been gone. I actually gave evidence against the government at the trial of the rioters at Manchester Crown Court. You didn't think extremists would appeal to the far right? Yeah, of course they were. I mean, they were far right. They used to wear a little badge, a little enamel badge on their jackets, and it was like a furled Union Jack. That was a sign of the National Front. It's really dangerous. Well, it's really dangerous in prison. Well, you see this thing with the things, the drugs that they take in, spice and all that, they're out of their heads. And when people are out of their heads, they're incredibly strong. And, they won't be very strong for a long, long time, but they'll be strong for a period of time, and it takes some putting down. Am I a believer in bringing back? Absolutely not. I've told this before, Orbs. The thing about capital punishment is they're out of it. But people who have committed horrible offences, believe me, if they're in prison for a long time, it's hell on earth. If you've never actually been in prison, it's boring, it's mundane. It's like, I don't know if you've ever been to let me just tell you what it feels like, yeah? If you've ever been to an A&E unit in a hospital and it's been packed, and you've got to sit there for 6-7 hours waiting to be seen. That's how it feels like in prison every single day. Imagine that. I mean, you hang somebody, put them out of it. They don't have to put up with that anymore. They've gone. And we're all going in the end. And listen, tell you this. I know it sounds mad, but I've had a number of near-death experiences. And never did anybody ask me about my religion? No. They asked me, what have you done with your life? Tell us about that. What are you going to do if you go back? Because I was nearly dead a couple of times, really seriously. And obviously I must have said something right. Well, here I am. Yeah. I'm not a believer in bringing back the death penalty, no. And when you're dead, you don't even know you're dead. You don't. You look back and you see your body, you think, oh, well, off you go. Seriously, you'll be all right. So I don't believe in capital punishment. No, it's too easy. Seeing the impact spice and fentanyl is on, yeah, it's shocking. I've never tried, listen, I'm 76 years old and I ain't never tried no drugs. Never. Jack Daniels, yeah. Lagavulin, single malt whiskey, bring it on. I've got a pipe as well. Yeah. I'm just an old mon answer. Was it peaceful having a near-death experience? Absolutely, Gareth. You don't feel you're dead. You're not dead. You can't die. That's the thing about capital punishment. You don't die. You step out of your body and you're in another dimension. And it's perfectly peaceful. And the people I met, it was like being interviewed for the civil service. Seriously, the angels I met. And here I am. And that's proof. When I came round from, I was in a coma. When I came round, my brother was sat beside me. I said, he said, the first things I said to him were, Martin, please, will you look after Mary? I've got to go to America. And he thought I'd gone mad. Wasn't long after I'd got back on my feet and working again that I was flown to America to appear on television. I've now written 17 books, but I wrote a book for Bloomsbury. In fact, I was in the same room in the same time signing a contract with J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. And at the time, she wasn't like she is now. Looks like a slim model now. She was a dumpy little Scotch girl. Seems Scotch to me anyway. Prison can't be that bad because you keep going. No, they're in a cycle of deprivation. They leave the prison, they've got no money, they've got nowhere to live. They go robbing, get back in prison. Simple as that. Strange ways, there used to be people who come in prison every year at Christmas. Barry Smith will remember them. Yeah, he used to come in every Christmas. He used to go and put the shop window in or throw a milk bottle at the policeman or up before the magistrates. 3 months into Strange Ways, Christmas dinner. Prison can't be that bad. Believe me, if you've got anything going on upstairs, it's terrible. Yeah, you outlived him. He was born in 1950. Who did I outlive? Yeah. Do anything insist on Lewis. I don't actually know HMP Lewis. I'll be perfectly honest. If you've got anything on that, join in the channel and send me some details. I'll be pleased to see it. Yeah, I believe in life after death. Good reason to believe it. But not getting into that, people think you... Yeah, Sean, you got to remember, when you've been there and actually seen it, you're not bothered. You're not bothered what people think, because it's the damn truth, I'm a big fan of Christopher Hitchens, who was a highly intellectual individual. In fact, I'm reading one of his books now called God Is Not Great. But I'm sure that Christopher Hitchens, who is now dead, will know that you can't die. You cannot die. Right. I believe in the afterlife. Think for yourself, Trevor. Yeah, absolutely do think for yourself. I've written a number of books on it. I've got a book out there called The Psychic World of John G. Sutton. And I was the feature editor of the Journal of Spiritualism for 27 years. Right, what's this say? Yeah, just for the crack with the lads. Yeah, you're going to jail just for the crack with the lads. Yeah, the Cray twins. Never met the Cray twins. Met Frankie Fraser. He was a nasty, horrible piece of work. But I tell you, who did meet the Cray twins? My mate, Big John. He was at Scrubs, but when he was working at Brixton, they put the Cray twins on his landing, And the Cray twins started coming the old soldier bit, you know. And Big John had a word with them and said, took them into a cell, shot the bolt and said, listen, you two, if there's any nonsense on this landing, he said, I'm going to give you the best hiding either of you have ever had in your life. He said, and there's only one hard man in this prison, and it ain't either of you. What do you think happened? The Cray twins didn't do their own violence. They put a hit out on John, and he had to get moved. They moved him from Brixton to the Scrubs. They were dangerous bastards. Seriously. Where are we up to? That probie should have been said. Listen, he would have been Mark, yeah? I reported him. Yeah, Barry Smith, I've heard the afterlife is great. I'm dying to go. Yeah, that's what we'll all be doing, Barry. Dying to go. And believe me, it's all right. You read about it in my new book. I don't know if have you read my new book yet, Barry? HMP Manchester Prison Officer Part 4. It tells how I was in the next dimension and I was sent back. And they said I was going back on a mission. Or maybe this is part of the mission. I don't know. Maybe it was just to tell people that there is no death. But there isn't any death. And don't be afraid of it. I mean, don't go for it, don't welcome it, you know, but when you go, be ready and be prepared because your personality lives on. You're not different. If you're a bad bastard here, you'll be a bad bastard there. And my belief for the afterlife is birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, that's what I believe. I also believe as you sow, so shall you reap. I'd like to know the percentage of foreign criminals. I reckon it's about 25%, David Bailey. You can get the stats if you go to ChatGPT. Ask them, yeah? Do you have any theories on why we live the lives we do? It's a school. You're learning, yeah? You don't learn anything at school, by the way. I never did. I left school at 14. Age of 14, imagine that. Only 14. The headmaster wrote on my report, my final report, this boy will amount to nothing. Seriously. Anyway, I got published by HarperCollins, I got published by Bloomsbury, got published by Scholastic, and I sent him a copy of one of my books and said, not bad for a boy who will amount to nothing. And I signed it to him, sent it to him, and I said to my mate who lived near him, because he was still alive at the time, it was around about 1995, something like that, 96. I said, how did he like my book? Did you see him? He said, yeah, don't think he'd be reading your book, John. He died on Saturday. I'd sent the book on Thursday. It would have arrived at his house Saturday morning. I reckon he took one look at it and popped his clogs. Before pairing prisoners up to share a cell, how much background checks do you do? Yeah, David, that is a very good question. And you know what the answer is? None. No checks at all. Just stick the bastards in. Sometimes they team people up. If you've got somebody who's an obvious racist and you don't like him, you stick them in with a big black guy who's going to make them feel at home. Yes, James McKelvey. You can get my books on Amazon. I highly recommend them. Get most of my books on Amazon. Yeah, John G. Sutton, HMP Manchester Prison Officer. I hope there's a pub in heaven. Mark Richardson, believe me, there's what you want. It depends on what level you're going. For a start off, you don't actually need any kind of sustenance, but you can have it if you want it. Seriously. But I mean, it's going to be your place. And listen, if you behave in a responsible, caring, compassionate manner in this life, when you get into the next life, it's all waiting for you. John went to school in Everthorpe and Hindley. Hindley. All right. Yeah. I've been in Hindley. I don't like it. I wasn't an inmate. I was on duty. I don't particularly like Hindley. Brutal place. Have you ever seen the film Scum? I think that must be based on Hindley. Yeah, I never understood racism. Trevor, in a way, I do, because I've seen it in the army, I've seen it in the prisons, and I just think that people are of limited intelligence who actually think along those lines. You're reading my latest book. Roy, that's very nice of you, Roy. Thanks. I hope you're finding it amusing. I mean, it wasn't amusing for me. Eh? I actually suffered through that. My wife deserves them. She already got 2 medals, Got 1 medal on our 35th wedding anniversary. One of my mates gave it to her, said, "You need a medal, putting up with that bastard." And then on our 50th wedding anniversary, I gave her a medal. It says, "For Valor." You know what they put on the Victoria Cross. Yeah. So right. Well, I'm glad that you're reading my book. Thanks very much, everybody, for taking part in this little get together this evening. I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed it, and we'll have another one on the first Tuesday in April. Thanks, everybody. I'm off now. Are we all done? Yeah. Thank you. Bye now. Do I get any royalties from Amazon? I get paid for writing books. I certainly do. I'm a professional author. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye now.